Hello there, and welcome to King James School News Report. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Jasmine. Our top stories today: the budget sweeps the UK. Is it, as the councillor says, one to help the families? Councillor Gaddafi pushes rebel cities in Libya, and 2 British soldiers die in Afghanistan. Their families have been informed.
Also, coming up later, a Holocaust survivor shares his past. Walkers of Welcome opens in Knaresborough. How the budget affects Bewley Park and Knaresborough at the local level. Councillor
George Osborne has just announced the most recent of the budget cuts. The good news is that 4p rise in the fuels has been postponed. However, cuts are still being made everywhere else. Although the VAT has been added 3p on the price of petrol, there is a 1p cut from fuel duty. They have tried to freeze the price of petrol, but it is a little too late. Oil firms can expect a jump as well, as the government is charging £2 billion to pay for the 1p cuts in fuel.
But here in Knaresborough, we are even more concerned about local cuts. On Wednesday, the 16th of March, an action group was formed at a meeting with members. The group was made so local people can voice their opinions on the cuts. Natalie, David and Alex went to find out about the public thought.
We've come into Knaresborough to find out the local people's opinions on yesterday's budget and how it will affect them.
Where do you think that most cuts should be made?
Do you really want us to answer that one?
Bureaucracy,
Yes.
both local and national.
Yeah.
My experience of working with local authorities and national governments over the years has led me to believe that it is inhabited by a surface of workers that their level of productivity is suspect.
The thing that we have noticed this week is that a year ago, when they announced that the child benefit would be frozen, it means that it will take longer for you to save up to pay for a new school uniform in terms of child benefit.
Thank you.
This is the people's opinions of the budget cut from Knaresborough.
I'm Natalie.
I'm Alex.
And I'm David, and we've been reporting from the BBC School Report. Back to you in the studio.
More cuts have been made on resources relying on government. Here is Jess and Natalie with the facts about the library cutbacks and enjoyment of the World Book Day.
Recently, the government have announced possible cuts to local libraries. This may result in our town's library reducing in size and even being cut out of the town. We have made a local petition to the people in Knaresborough who don't want this cutback to take place. Okay. To highlight the importance of libraries, we visited the library in King James School on World Book Day. Children's author Lucy Adlington spoke to Year 7 and 8 students and ran a series of workshops.
Yeah, and how long, a week do you take?
Usually a couple of days, and then if I get odd 10 minutes and odd half hours, I'll get my notebook out. Yeah, and jot it down. I've got one of those little baby laptops that you can sling in your handbag and pull out in a coffee shop, and I do that. And sometimes before I do one of my costume talks, I'll be getting the book out and writing.
So, it's World Book Day today. What do you think of our festivities at school?
They're really good. It's good that everyone's really enthusiastic about it, and the costumes are really good.
Yeah, people have put a lot of effort into it as well, and even teachers have and things, and I think everyone will enjoy it.
And I think it was a really good idea too.
So can you stand up and change your costume?
I am a cow.
I'm a genie. I'm a cat. I'm hiding behind you.
I'm Jess. And I'm Natalie, reporting for BBC School News Report
from King James Library.
Thanks, girls. In other news, during February half-term break, a group of King James sixth formers and 2 teachers went to visit Poland. They visited the Auschwitz, a main death camp in World War II. Ryan and Holly asked them what they thought. They also interviewed a Holocaust survivor called Eric Hirsch.
Recently, a group of sixth formers went on a trip to Krakow and the concentration camp Auschwitz in Germany. It's important that we remember what happened in the Holocaust, as it's such a major event in history, and that the story stays alive so people today can learn about what happened. We caught up with 2 of the pupils, Gary and Amy, who went on the trip, and 2 teachers, Mrs. Turner and Mr. Grist, who went as well to find out what they thought about the camps and their feelings whilst they were there.
How did you feel when you left Auschwitz camp?
I think it was like a humbling experience, wasn't it?
Yeah,
So
really, yeah.
when you left, you felt quite humbled, and it was certainly very emotive. It wasn't so much like depressing, there was no one weeping. It was very solemn, more than a sad mood.
You felt very lucky to be going out of the gates rather than to be kept in there like all the people were.
Did you see anything you didn't expect to see, and why?
I didn't expect to see some of the things that were left behind, such as the amount of hair and how it was used by the Nazis. I didn't expect to see all the cases of people who've gone into Auschwitz. I thought that would have gone.
For me, I think it was the chamber, the gas chamber, because obviously I knew that the chambers in Birkenau had been bombed at the end of the war. But there's a third chamber that was used prior to the mass exterminations in Birkenau, in the Auschwitz section of the camp. And we walked in there and it almost took me by surprise to suddenly be stood in the gas chamber itself.
We also had the privilege of meeting a Holocaust survivor called Arik Hirsch. We asked him about his life and his tragic experience as a young boy.
What were you told when you were taken away?
We were told we had been taken to a camp, to a work camp. That was in the Lodz ghetto. And from there, actually, we were taken to Auschwitz. And we came 185 children to Auschwitz, and me and another boy got through. Or the 183 went to their death when we arrived.
Did you have hope? Did you know that you would be freed?
No. We lived from day to day. We didn't have any hope. Basically what happened was, when the Russian army was near Auschwitz, on the 18th of January, they got us all together and they marched us out. It was minus 25 degrees, cold, snow, the wind blowing, and we were marching, and we were marching for 2 days and a night without any food, in the striped suits, which had no warmth at all. And eventually we got to a railway station, and we were put onto wagons, box wagons, 100 people to a wagon, and we were taken to Buchenwald.